Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Anna. I'm a little bit spooky, and today we are having a cup of coffee together and just really going hard on the chit chat. We're creating a pretty fall look. I just was in the mood for some purple. I wanted to see how purple would look with my hair. So here we are. And we do a little bit of shop my stash situation. Definitely grab a cup of coffee for this one because girl, we're chit-chatting today. We talk about plants. We talk about books, TV shows, all the things. We just sit here and chit-chat about whatever popped into my head, and I get a little ranty a little bit in here as well. But anyway, if that interests you, you want to see how I create this look, see what products we played with today, just go ahead and keep on watching. But before you do, don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know if you have any plant tips, particularly for calla lilies, because your girl's got some calla lilies now, and I don't know what to do with them. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get into the makeup and have some coffee. And clearly, I've had enough. But we'll drink more. Onto the makeup. Alright, hello. I've got you super zoomed in because I've been tinkering with my setup around here and figured out how I can actually have you a little closer for tutorials because, yeah, just moved one thing and it was like, oh, yeah, I can do this now. Anyway, cheers. Let's get our coffee in us this morning. And yeah, good morning. It is November 1st. And in the November spirit and still having my gingery hair, I thought we could create a nice Thanksgiving-y, I guess, November-y look. A palette that I think is super underrated, and I don't even know if you can buy this palette anymore. I sure hope you can. I will try to find it online and link it below, but it's the Nubian 2 from Juvia's Place. It is so beautiful, and it's like the perfect color story for fall. Look at this. So I thought we could play with this today. Dip into these purpley tones. I feel like doing purple and warm again. I know I did that not too long ago, but I feel like doing it again. And we might dive into a couple of shimmers from the Ghost Town palette from Nomad because I'm addicted to this palette. It's simple as that. The purple shades within this palette in particular, I thought we could maybe dive into like Ghost Train or Garnet. These two right here. Maybe do something with that. But yeah, that's what I want to do today. I just want to hang out and put on some makeup. So yeah, here we are. This is just a kind of a shop my stash a little bit. I have pulled some other items that I haven't reached for a whole lot recently. And I thought it'd be kind of fun just to dig in the collection and pull those out. Slap them on the face. So yeah, I got a couple of complexion products that have gotten a little neglected, I guess. And yeah, let's dive on in here. It is super cold today. Oh, it is so cold. I have socks on, that's how cold it is, and socks give me the icks. I'm gonna take the shade called Morocco right here. This one right here, this beautiful orangey color. Start things out. And I'm gonna take that on a little fluffy brush. We'll start light and kind of work our way up. Yeah, it's so cold here that I have socks on. I'm not a sock girl. I don't like socks. I don't wear socks around the house. I'm a barefoot little hobbit. Like, it's gotta be cold for me to want to put socks on. Like, I'll go outside barefoot in the cold. I'm weird like that. My feet were so cold that I actually put some fuzzy socks on, which I'm okay with the fuzzy socks. But, you know, it's just one of those things. I don't like things on my feet. I know, it's just a strange little quirk. It's not that the socks, like, about them getting, like, twisted up in my shoe or something. They constantly fall off my heel because I don't have a heel to my foot. So that's a whole nother issue. But I just don't like things on my feet. I don't like wearing shoes. I don't like house shoes, anything like that. I don't like it. Except at the gym. I'm the total opposite of a lot of gym people who do a lot of their leg day stuff without shoes. Like, they do squats and stuff barefoot. I can't do it. Nope, don't wanna. Gotta have my tennis shoes on for that. I am actually thinking about investing in some weightlifting shoes. There's a pair that are a cross between like a trainer shoe and a weightlifting shoe that I'm interested in. not a bad price point, and I figured they'd be nice to try out. I like the stability that weightlifting shoes would give. I like the idea of the stability that weightlifting shoes could give because they have that slight heel lift and they're meant to lock your feet in. So that's pretty much why I want them. I have bad balance, so the shoes are kind of like a necessity for me at the gym. Whereas otherwise, I'm just nope. But I have weird little deformed feet. They're too small for my body. I don't have a heel. So anyway, shoes are a necessity with working out. But otherwise, like, I hate shoes. I don't want shoes on. I'm a barefoot little hobbit at all times. Oh, by the way, I've already primed my eyes with the NYX Ultimate Shadow Primer. And put a little bit of translucent powder over top just to set it down. But yeah, it was like 20-something degrees during the night. Just out of the blue. We went from like 80s to freezing cold. Just, there was no lead up to it. There was no little tiptoeing in. So it just feels awful. Just, surprise, freezing cold. I woke up, there's frost everywhere. Ugh. And my poor husband has to work. He's on days currently, and he works outdoors. So he has to be out in it, and they are doing a lot of weatherproofing at his job for the cold weather. So yeah, he's not had fun. Or he did not have fun at work yesterday. Pumpkin's been bundled up in her little jackets, and well, she wore her Halloween costume yesterday with a shirt underneath because it was cold. But yeah, I didn't do anything for Halloween. Aside from the weekend before Halloween, we did go to a bar for like an hour and a half. And I had a hamburger, and that was about it, and I was ready to come home and go to bed. And it was super hot that night. It was so weird. And then last night, Halloween, it was like crazy cold, which is never like cold on Halloween. It's always, you want it to be cool, but it's always just kind of humid and yucky. No, it was like winter, January, February cold. But yeah, for actual Halloween, we did nothing. Absolutely nothing. We went and grabbed freaking McDonald's, which I don't eat very often, aside from like a McMuffin. But I didn't want to even think about cooking food either. Like, we just, like, you know what, let's just grab something easy, take Pumpkin for a little car ride, look at some trick-or-treaters in the neighborhood, which was super cute. People in my neighborhood actually set up little, like, things at the end of their driveways. I didn't know we were doing this. If I knew that this was going to be a thing, I would have done it too. We don't usually, I don't know, I guess the neighbors did not inform me. Maybe I should get on that, like, that Nextdoor app or something. Are they communicating on there and I don't know about it? Oh man, I probably get talked about a lot on there because I do not do yard things. They probably complain about my yard a lot because it's just barren. And you're lucky it gets mowed. I'm not an outdoorsy gal. I could care less about landscaping. It's just not my thing. And I know warm is like not trending right now for as eye looks. It's all about the cool tones. But I've got orange in my hair, okay? So cool tones are not going to be the thing until I take the orange out, which I'm going to be doing soon. I'm not sure exactly what the hair plan is. It's pending. But I think we're going to be making another little fun change. I'm going to have fun just changing the color of these little pieces right here. It's cool. Now, I'm going to jump over to a smaller, little bit more of a concentrated brush. And we're going to take the shade called Jezebel, which is the plummy, dark purple color here. That's also a matte. Right there. And we're going to put that kind of in the socket, deepen things up. We'll see what it does. Oh, yeah. That looks cool. That's working really well with the orange. Yeah, I wish I'd known that like that was going to be a thing in the neighborhood because I would have definitely bought some candy and like done that. But we don't really normally get that many trick-or-treaters, so I didn't really think it was going to be a thing. Anyway, I guess, well, I'll know for next year. Speaking of like not liking landscaping though and all that, I have purchased my first houseplant. I bought some black calla lilies. Well, they're like eggplant purple, but they're super black. And so far, so good. I've had them 2 weeks. And they're thriving still, and I'm very happy with them. I'm like, Yay! I found a really good spot in the kitchen that I think that they are liking, where they get a little bit of morning sun. I make sure the soil isn't dry, and that's been about it. It did come with instructions, thankfully, so it's my first endeavor in anything involving a plant. I'm now a plant mom, aside from an air plant that I had when I was like 13 that I killed. Well, yes, I killed an air plant at 13. So I've not been one to get into gardening or anything like that. Like, that's just not my thing. I don't like outdoorsy stuff, I guess. I don't know. Am I lazy? Possibly. I don't. It's like, it's theoretically, it's something I like the idea of. I love seeing other people's gardens and learning, and like, again, theoretically, intellectually, I know about how like to care for most plants and stuff. And my mom and grandma were avid gardeners. They were always outside. They had greenhouses, this and that. They were gardeners. My grandpa grew had little crops and stuff in the yard. I'm not. I didn't get the green thumb gene, I guess. My brother, I think he did landscaping a lot, and he also was like, did some architectural landscaping as a job, and I'm just like, no, not for me at all. I'm just not into it. But the thing is, I like the idea of it. I wish I had that desire to do it. I'm envious of that. It's just not, I don't know, not something I'm excited about. As far as doing things outside, like, I like the idea of having the indoor plant. And some of that, I do think, like, just not doing stuff like that comes from not being physically able to do it for a very long time, to where it just wasn't something I considered because I didn't think my body could do it. Like, I physically couldn't do it. And a lot of that has changed now with this past year. Physically, my body's changed a lot, and I've got a lot of mobility back, and now it's like, well, maybe I could do something like that, but do I have the time? Do I want to invest the time and the money in it? Not really. It's not something I'm passionate about. To me, like, my outdoor space is always such an afterthought. Like, I don't look at my front yard. I don't see my front yard unless I'm leaving the house, and then I'm like, oh, I should probably get the grass mowed or something. Like, it's not something that is front of mind ever. I have windows that look out in the front yard, but I don't look out them very often. When am I have a blackout curtain over? So I'm definitely not a homestead kind of gal. Like, I'm not going to be somebody who's going to raise chickens. I decided to take a little bit more of a concentrated brush. I just want to see how deep that color would go, that Morocco shade. It doesn't really go that deep. Or Jezebel, sorry. It doesn't go as deep as it appears in the pan. Like, it's not quite as pigmented as I anticipated it to be. But still pretty. It works perfect with the orange. Alright, on the lid, I want to take the shade called Layla, or Leela, which is this super dark eggplant right here. We're going to put that on the outer part of the lid to begin. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to pat that right out here. Ooh, that's super dark. That's nice. I like that color. Now, hopefully I can get that to marry in to the Jezebel shade. It's looking a little choppy. But it might just be the brush. Sometimes things can get choppy with this brush. Just because it's blunt. Let's do a little bit more of the Jezebel shade. Can work that in. There we go. Okay. There we go. Now, take a little bit of Layla on this brush, or Leela, and just soften that edge. Really kind of work that into the socket and really darken that up. Take some more of Leela. Just going to take that across the lid. I'm going to pop something fun from Ghost Town, I think in the middle or the inner part. See how the mood strikes us. No real plan, just a color story plan more than anything. I really do need to look more into some Juvia's Place palettes, because I really am very impressed with this one, and I have the little Mauves palette, and I quite like it as well, the quality of it. I need to look and see what they got, because I know I'm pretty sure they got some that I'd be into. And that's such a good price point. The quality, I mean, you kind of can't beat it. Really soften it out some. I love just a super dark, plummy eye like this. Especially for this time of year, I think it's just very pretty, and I don't know. It's something I've always loved. Like, I'm not the hugest fan of purple eyeshadow, but like this kind of purple where it's just dark and pairing it with warm tones, I think is so pretty. And do you have any fun holiday plans in place yet? I have none. So I have to check my husband's schedule for all that still. Everything depends on his work schedule, like what we do and the plans that we make for holidays. I really want to make sure that orange is still quite visible. And I'm doing a lot of back and forth here. This is my favorite kind of look, where I can just sit here and go back and forth and just blend, blend, blend. I feel like I'm painting, and it's very relaxing to me. And the shade Leela is more like a metallic, or like a satin shade, really. It's kind of functions as a matte more than anything. Here that I've just gotten a little more spoiled with good shimmers. The green in this palette, Egypt, heavenly. Oh, one of my favorite indie brands, Rebel Rouge Labs, is coming out with their, it launched today for pre-order, their holiday palette this year. And it's called Come Undone, which is my favorite Duran Duran song. So I feel like I just need the palette because of that. They always get me in the nostalgia feels. That brand every time. And I just kind of feel like I need it just because of the name. And the colors are really pretty. There's some gorgeous greens in there. I'm quite taken with it. Okay, so here's where we are. I'm going to jump to Ghost Town now. And let's do a little bit of Ghost Train, maybe right in the center. See, duochrome. A really pretty purple sparkle in it, shift. Oh yeah, there we go. Just a little kiss of something. Touch of vibrancy. Let me show you. Ghost Train is this one right here. And it looks super bright on camera, but it has a kind of a green flip to it. I think pairing it over top of this eggplant, ooh, it really brings out the purple in it. And I just want that sparkle. Just a little sparkle in there. Just make sure these edges are nice and diffused and blended. That's nice. Nice little hint of vibrancy. I think that's all I wanted from this palette was that shade, just because I wanted to use it. And I thought it'd be really pretty with this look. Okay. For the inner corner, I'm going to take just a little bit of Nefertiti, I think, on a very small brush, which is the warm gold within the Juvia's Place palette right here. I love a touch of like this color and look like this. Very sunsetty, just. Actually, we can take a little bit of Copper Penny, I think, from the Ghost Town palette. This one right here. I'm going to pat that over Nefertiti. I'll do a little bit of garnet. This is a intermediate shade. In between there. Cool. Cool. Let's clean up the fallout, because I kind of went crazy blending and just eyeshadow everywhere. It was one of those blending days. I'll grab some Q-tips. I just was not paying attention to whatever's happening outside the eyes and just going to town with the blending, which is my favorite thing to do. I like to just go in. Tidy the fallout and take a little bit of face primer from e.l.f. This is the Poreless Putty Primer. And we'll just tidy this up quickly. Yeah, I made a mess today. What is going on? Just going to town over here. Not even paying attention. So I was rambling the whole time. That's why. Okay, let's do complexion now that we have the eyes roughly done. Again, this is going to improve. I'm going to blend these edges and everything's going to come together momentarily. But I like to go ahead and get the foundation on, then we'll jump back to the eyes, because I don't know, just how I do. Just how I do. Does it make any logical sense? Absolutely not. Well, it kind of does, because it's my process. For contour, I want to use the Fenty Cream Contour in Amber. This is, again, I haven't used this in like forever, I feel like. And recently I pulled it back out and I was like, oh yeah, that's still a good one. So I'm going to take that on a little brush here and just do a nice application of it. I do like to do contour before I do my foundation, like underpaint. And this little brush applies contour really nicely because it just kind of blends it as it goes. It just makes it very seamless and easy. I feel like I neglected this one after I got Patrick Ta, the Contour Bronze duo. I just totally ignored this poor palette. Oh, okay. So I watched the new Interview with the Vampire series. And you know, if I had never watched the original movie or read the books, I would have been obsessed. And you know, I liked it. I enjoyed it. Even though there were some differences and some changes, I still thought it was a really good series. The cinematography is great. I like that there was a few little nods to the movie in there, like the song that plays in the last episode, the piano. They, made some changes to the story, but not anything that I think took away from the story. They moved the timeline up, I think, 100 years. The only critique I have, honestly, is that the vampires in this are driven more by human urges, and like pleasure. That doesn't make sense to me. That was the one thing that I was like, I don't know. I didn't love that because it's a curse to be a vampire. And you're driven just by the thirst of blood or the hunger. Why would you be eating human food and smoking cigarettes and having sex all the time? Like that, to me, it trivialized a little bit of Louis and Lestat's relationship because their relationship wasn't based on needs of the flesh, aside from the hunger of blood. It was a very... it was purely mental, and I don't know, it just felt like it cheapened the story a little bit, that the vampires be into that. Like, I get they add it for the appeal of the show, to make it interesting and I guess kind of relatable. But the whole point is them being vampires is that it kind of sucks. It's not awesome. And I wish they had kind of, I don't know, made it less about that. Like, in Anne Rice's books, like the vampires don't eat. They don't care about sex or any of these things. Blood is the only thing that they get any pleasure from in their companionship with each other. So I feel like they could have, I don't know if maybe it had been just not as easy to relate to if they had done that. Or maybe they just put it in there purely for the entertainment value of it. But I don't know. That was my only real complaint, was that right there. Other than that, I liked the storyline. I think it was a nice little kind of different look at the story, and I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I did not think I would like it because Anne Rice novels are a whole special place. And so especially the original Interview with the Vampire movie, like that movie it is like top tier to me. Like, I love it. I like it way more than Queen of the Damned, which I think Queen of the Damned is a little more popular. And I liked Queen of the Damned. I just did not like, what's his name? The guy who played Lestat in it. I can't remember his real name. Worse Lestat. Like, he did not fit that character role at all. And also Jonathan Davis as Lestat's voice in Craig music. Ew. No, you could have done better. You could have done infinitely better. Like, Tom Cruise is perfect for Lestat. And the guy that they have playing Lestat in the new one, perfect casting. Like, he nailed it. The girl playing Claudia, lovely. I love the guy playing Louis. Oh, I love the guy playing Louis. Like, I think the casting was done really well. 4-in-1 Perfector as a highlighty kind of skin enhancer step. It's on the high points of the face here, where I would apply like a flawless filter. Meant to do this before the contour, but whatever. Anyway, I think the casting was done really well. Another small critique I have is that they spent too much time in New Orleans in one place. And I feel like they were just a way too public with themselves. Like, with the local government and stuff. Like, no. You're supposed to be in the shadows. You're not supposed to have a nice existence. It's a curse to be a vampire. Like, it just made it look too fun. Like, that was kind of the thing with like the original movie and stuff, is that it looks cool at first. And yeah, there's ways they can find joy, but for the most part, it's a miserable, lonely existence. I think they just made it look a little too appealing in the new one. Like, it made being a vampire look a little too fun. But I am curious to see where it goes. They've introduced Armand, which, one of my favorite characters. I know Antonio Banderas is nothing like the Armand in the books. And that the actor they cast for Armand and the Queen of the Damned, I don't think he even has a speaking role. He's just a side character, looks dead on to how he's described in the books. I know Antonio does not fit that role at all, as far as the way it was described. But I loved him as Armand. The personality was there, I think, anyway. But yeah, I think the guy that they cast as Armand in this one fits the personality role very well. And I like the guy that cast as Daniel, which is the reporter or journalist who's sitting down with Louis. I like that they basically went with an Anthony Bourdain knockoff. And I love that. I think that was kind of the perfect role choice. And he does remind me a lot of Christian Slater's character, like that kind of dry, grumpy mentality. And that's how he is in the book as well. He's very just that. And yeah. And kind of the changing around the timeline was a little weird, like, because I had to turn my brain off and say, stop comparing this to the book and the timeline of the book. It's just a retelling of the story. But still, enjoyed it. I thought it was done really well. I know they're going to be doing the Mayfair Witches, which I'm really excited about. I feel like those novels kind of got shit on a little bit, or they weren't as popular. But I liked the Mayfair Witches stories a lot. All right, now I'm going to go with the Super Blendable from L'Oreal. I haven't used this in a little bit, so I thought it'd be nice to use this foundation. And apply it with my little brush. That was definitely like a series I'm a little bit like protective of, I guess you could say. Like, I didn't want to see it get messed up or just changed completely, so I avoided watching the series for a while. And I was eating gumbo yesterday, which I mentioned gumbo way too much in the show, mind you. Yeah, we eat more than just gumbo here in Louisiana. A lot more food than just gumbo. But apparently that's like the only dish served in the whole show. They laid on a little thick with the Louisiana culture that was a little bit cheesy, okay? Also, the girl's accent for Claudia was a little... Okay. I'm done critiquing. I'm just being very critical. But yeah, other food exists in Louisiana. And I feel like they just named off foods, like, constantly. Like, oh, boudin, andouille. This is like, okay, we get it. It's set in New Orleans. Point's made. Your point has been made. Chill. So there's a little bit of that was just a bit cheesy to me. That, like, okay, we get it. It's the French Quarter. But the fact that everybody was like, there's gumbo on the stove. People don't just have gumbo on the stove all the time. Like, there would have been other meals being prepared. But it was funny that I was also actually eating gumbo, though, because we cooked gumbo the other day. Anyway, and that's what I'm having for lunch today. I mean, don't get me wrong, gumbo is a staple, like, especially around this time of year. But, like, there's other foods. Red beans and rice. That's, to me, like, a very much a staple meal. I didn't hear anybody talk about red beans and rice in the show. But that's me looking for something to complain about. That's just the thing I've noticed. Any show that's, like, set in Louisiana, though, it's going to be just laying it on thick with the cheeseball culture that's very, I think, just a touristy. People who are not from Louisiana or New Orleans take on things. Like, clearly you're not from here. Because you're just a little too excited about gumbo. Like, it's the tourist, like, tropes. Very stereotypical. I'm surprised they didn't mention po' boys constantly. Like, good lord. The set design was beautiful, by the way, though. They did a great job on the set design, I think. Another little thing I'll nitpick is, was it necessary for Louis to have been a pimp? I feel like that was a little tasteless. I don't know. Just about the little... Come on. That just did not fit his character. I don't think it fit his character in the show either. And to be obsessed with, like, having clubs and, like, this social life. That's not Louis. Louis a loner. That's more something that, like, Lestat would probably have been into. And wanting, like, attention and to be a part of society more. That part just did not check out with me. But, again, I'm just being extra critical because it's something, a book series I grew up with and love and have reread so many times. I don't think they could have cast a better Lestat, though. That fella playing him. Perfect. And I loved the girl playing Claudia. I think she had the right attitude for it. And they gave her much more, I think, story than obviously in the books. They definitely elaborated on her character more. They made her a little bit older, which just helps the story for her to be a little older. As in the books and in the original movie, she's like, I think in the book she's even younger. She's like, what, 6 or 7 or something? I can't quite remember. It's been a long time. But yeah, it made it where she could have a little more independence, making her older, which is fine. She could pass as an adult. All right, we're going to go with the number 7 Lift and Illuminate Serum Concealer. Fantastic concealer. Oh, so good. And I've just forgot it existed, apparently. So we're going to take a little bit of this. Right here. Is for all my griping here and, like, critiquing, I really enjoyed the show. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed it. But when you're taking in, a legendary kind of IP or whatever here, something that's has a canon to it and a whole thing, it's hard to suspend that to enjoy the new. I've always had a trouble with that in, like, movie adaptations or show adaptations of something that I enjoy. I think one that I truly like, one of my favorite adaptations to TV was The Expanse. A little bit different, well, quite a bit different. Was The Expanse, like, they condensed a lot of story in there and changed some stuff that's in the later books, but it didn't feel like anything was missing from the show. And yeah, I liked it. I thought that was a good job. Killing Eve. Talk about a series that is infinitely better than the books. Infinitely better. And I like the first 2 of the Killing Eve novels. They're Killing Eve, Codename Villanelle. The books are a little bit cheesy-ish, I would say. They're kind of cheesy. Just kind of a James Bondy type of story more. But the first 2, fine. The show has much more emotion in it, I think, and just a little bit deeper. But when you get to the third book in the Killing Eve trilogy, it reads like a bad fanfic. It has to be one of the worst novels I've ever read. Like, it literally is like fan fiction of Killing Eve. I'm like, what is this garbage? And I don't know if I would have felt that way had I not seen the show. I might have, because it felt like a whole different author was writing this book. It felt totally different. It felt phoned in. Like, it felt very half-assed and a little too convenient and a little bit too, like, I don't know. It wasn't as dark, I guess, as the show also, but it was very half-assed feeling compared to the other two novels. The writing style is completely different. Like, did somebody ghostwrite this? What? It felt very... It was just poorly written. That's all I can say about it. It was very poorly written. It's supposed to be, written from the perspective of Eve in this one, where the other one's third person. The other two are third person. Eve is the most neurotic, stereotypical, like, shell of a human in the third book. Like, the author turned her into this caricature of a woman, is what it felt like. I mean, it almost was insulting the way it was written. Like, she's constantly obsessing over her relationship with Villanelle in this incredibly, like, immature, like, almost like the way a teenager worries over if a boy likes her or something. It was just they made her seem very immature and neurotic in a way that it took away from the story so much, because it made her very one-dimensional feeling, to where she's just like this shell of a person that's very one-dimensional, like, suddenly just doesn't give a crap about her past life, and is just obsessed with Villanelle, which does make sense, but for her to be into her, but there was no... She chased after her like a lost puppy. She had no strength of her own in the story. She was just kind of pathetic. And I don't like bragging on books like that, and because it's hard to write. It's hard to be a writer. It's hard to, tell a story. But this one, considering, like, the other two books that preceded it, what even happened here? Who are these characters? Villanelle was incredibly one-dimensional and super cheesy in this one. Like, so cheesy. Like, this felt like crappy fanfic. It felt like fanfiction written by, like, a 14-year-old. Like, there's the lack of true emotion in there. It was, like, caricatured, fake romance, rom-com, cheeseball emotion. There was no deep elements whatsoever. Everyone became super one-dimensional in the third series, or in the third book, that I wouldn't even, if you read the series, the first two are fine, but I wouldn't even bother reading the third one, because it totally ruins the whole series. It's just bad. And it makes me feel bad to say that, because I love the show so much, and I enjoyed the first two books. And reading that third one was just insulting. Like, I wanted my money back bad. Like, it was written, what was this writer even thinking? It threw in, like, very unnecessary political bias that I don't feel like made any sense to be in there. It was just stupid. It was stupid. And felt lazy. Okay, I'm using up the rest of my Halo Glow setting powder from e.l.f. This is the light pink shade. It was very lazy writing. clear. Like, it felt like somebody who, I don't know if the author was like just binge watching Rachel Maddow when they wrote this, because it also felt like that. Like, just really nonsensical political takes thrown in that just didn't make any sense. That was another thing that bugged me about it, was that the politics in the story didn't work. They didn't make any sense, because there's like a political element in the books that's not in the shows so much. Like, a lot of Villanelle's targets are political targets, and there's basically like an Illuminati thing going on. And it's not just some assassins there, or it's not just some group that's just looking out for its interests. They're like a whole like Illuminati situation. And the politics of it just didn't make sense, though. Like, what's the point here? What is the end goal of any of this? It was so cheesy. And I feel like maybe the writers spent too much time on Twitter. I don't know. But it was just poorly executed all around. And still somehow in the end, like, the alt-right bad guys win? What is this? What is this? And that Eve and Villanelle just go off in the sunset together and everything's just fine. Sorry for spoilers, but you don't even need to read it. Like, what in the absolute heck is this? That, oh well, after all this, the evil alt-right Illuminati take over. Even like a political viewpoint of this book. Like, it was just such a mess. It was purely a mess. And just had, I don't know. The way that Villanelle carries, they had Villanelle carry herself in the book as well, is just so stupid. Like, she's not nearly as impressive as the book starts out with her being. The first book, she's like cool and oh yeah, she's a photographic memory and she's all these things. Then by the end of the series, she's just they're both characters turn into just caricatures of themselves, to where they're just cheesy teenagers, and it turns into this like a absolutely cheeseball love story, and just these weird little elements thrown in that just made very little sense. Like, it was just such a lazy novel. It was incredibly lazy. Like, really, this is how you're choosing to wrap this up? This is how you want to make your two main characters to act like two silly teenagers at a sleepover? Is that how we want this to play out? To feel like I'm watching a rom-com that would get poor reviews? I'm surprised after that novel came out that they even made a series of the show, because that's how bad it is. Now, the series, I recommend 10 out of 10 watching the series. Jodie Comer and Sandra Oh, amazing. Absolutely amazing. The story is amazing. So much better. That's one of the few instances where I will say a show took an idea and improved it dramatically. Just dramatic improvements were made. I guess maybe the novels were meant to be kind of whimsical, but they don't start out very whimsical. They start out serious like the show, and then it just evolves into nonsense. I was offended by how poor that last book was. I'm mad. I want my money back. I pulled out the Breakfast Club palette here from Physicians Formula, and I'm going to go into the Peachy Blush right here. Actually, no, we should take some of the bronzer. I think I'll take some of the lighter bronzer tone right there. Warm up the face a little bit because I am looking a bit ghostly. I'm so distracted by my anger at that book still. I've finished reading this like 2 weeks ago, and I'm still fuming because I want my $10 back. And I don't think you could do refunds on Kindle like that, unless it's like immediate accidental purchase type of thing. So I feel like a scathing review is in order. It's out of my rage. I was so excited about the novels too. Especially reading the first one, I was just hooked. It's like, oh yeah, this is gonna be awesome. It's a little different than the show, but that's fine. You know, it's gonna be great. Yeah, but I mean, midway through the book, I almost quit reading it, and that, for me to feel that way about a book is something, because I'm a completionist and I can't not finish a book. But to even be tempted to just say F it with a novel is a lot. Because I will finish a book, no matter how bad it is sometimes, just because I need to see how things come out. And I usually don't complain. Like, most of the time I know what I'm in for if it's a cheeseball novel. I like my cheesy space opera novels. That's my kind of light read, is the space operas. And some of them are pretty awful. Like, there's some real stinkers out there. But I'll read them because they're entertaining. I feel like this last book, aside from it giving it a happy ending that maybe you wanted to happen, in some ways, it still wasn't the happiest of endings, because, like, the bad guys win somehow. I don't know. I just felt very let down. Very let down. Speaking of writing, my husband has taken up writing, which has been really fun. Like, to see how rewarding it is for him to have this new creative outlet. It's really cool. So, yeah, he's writing a kind of a Twin Peaks type of mystery, and I think it's going to turn out really well. Okay, let's do the lower lash line, because I totally forgot that existed because I was so enraged by that book. I'll stop now. I'm sorry. Just anger. Anger. All right, I'm going to take the Morocco shade, I think. I'll run that along here. Pretty tight to the lash line. The first two of the Villanelle novels. Like, the first one, you start to feel like you are going to be getting into, like, a girl with a dragon tattoo type of thing. And for it to end up into soap opera cheesiness was just... Ugh. Those are some of my favorite novels, is the original, like, 3 girl with the dragon tattoo novels. There are Elizabeth Salander trilogy. Oh, love those so much. Those are beautifully written, or not beautifully written, but fantastic books. And the original series that they did, the Swedish version of the series with Numi Rapace, it is in Swedish, and it was done as like a mini series made for TV. Awesome, very good. Little bit easier to watch as far as like being uncomfortable scene wise than the David Fincher one, which I like the American version too. I like the aesthetic of it and the cinematography of it. Like, I got some qualms with a few things with it, of course. I love the cinematography and the desolation that was created in it. I think it was very well done. I think Daniel Craig did a great job. Rooney Mara. She did a good job. And that's what I wanted more from the Villanelle novels. And what you think you're getting initially is something like that. No. I do want to read the newer novels that are continuing the Elizabeth Salander story. The original author died, and they have more novels now from a different author. I just haven't read them. Oh, and then there's the movie. I never did watch the one either. That has the lady that played the Queen in The Queen. Is that the movie? The show's called The Queen. Has her playing Elizabeth Salander, which I thought was an interesting choice, and I kind of like to see her in that role. So I really like that lady. I just took a little bit of Leela right there, just at the outer corner. I think that's all I'm gonna do on the lower lash line as far as that goes. We'll do a little bit of Nefertiti, I think. Blend that in. Just for a little something across there. I don't want to do the purple down here necessarily. I want to be more of the warm shades. But to let me know, do you get that riled up over books and books versus TV? Like changes in storylines? Like, what does that bother you? Okay, I'm going to take the blush from this palette. We're going to jump back over here and finish the cheeks. I am a mess today. We're going to take the blush called the Princess, which is the peach blush. Just a generic peach. Pop some of that on. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on Interview with the Vampire if you've watched it. And if you've watched Killing Eve and read the books, how you feel about that. Particularly if you've read the third one. It was just such a dramatic shift in writing style and character development that it was jarring. That's what it felt like. It felt very jarring and just out of place, and I swear it had to be a different author. Like, this can't be the same person writing this. What happened? Did their brain break? Like, what is this garbage? And yeah, I'm being harsh. Absolutely. Because it was bad. But yeah, my husband's gotten into writing lately. I've taken a highlighter called the Basket Case. Right here. And it's been like a really nice kind of thing for him to do, get into. It's something he's definitely finding joy in. And he's having a lot of fun with it. And he's a fantastic writer. Absolutely fantastic. Like, 10 out of 10 writing style. And yeah, I'm biased because it's my husband, but also I'm like impressed. Like when I read it, I'm like, oh damn. Like he really, really has a true talent for writing. It's been a really good, I think, outlet for him as well. Something to do. You know, something to put energy into that feels productive and rewarding, which I think is very important for people to have something that gives you a little bit of some kind of hobby that's rewarding, gives you some kind of purpose that just makes you feel good and productive in a way. I think that's a very important thing to have in one's life, to just it gives you a little drive. And yeah, it was nice to see him find something new. Like even if something as silly as this right here, this is like a little bit of purpose for me, because every now and then there's those comments that I get that show that like I truly reached out to somebody. I know, like, as true or silly as it seems to sit here on the internet and talk about makeup, this still does give me a little bit of purpose and something to do, and it's something I truly enjoy doing. Like it's a real rewarding experience, especially like some comments every now and then will just make it all worth it. Like even if there's only 5 people watching, there's that one comment from somebody that got something beyond just makeup from the video. They got something, and that is the most rewarding thing. And it's definitely like a driving force there. The community aspect. That's what's actually the real rewarding part of this. The rest is just pure fun. To me, as frustrated as I can get sometimes with tech and editing and all that, it's a fun frustration. Like I think there's a element to being a little bit stressed and frustrated with something that is good. It's motivating and it drives you forward as you have like a goal in mind and something that you want to strive towards. I think that's why I find like the gym so rewarding, because I have goals and I'm able to reach those goals and see and feel an impact there. And I don't know, it's a fun challenge to me there. But I think that might just be a Capricorn mentality of needing that in life, like wanting a little bit of a grind, I guess. And I'm not the 9 to 5, that kind of grind, want like this crazy career ambition type of person. Like I just want to do my own thing and be left alone, because I'm also really hard-headed and don't like working with other people. So this is kind of the perfect scenario for me. I think that is definitely like a little bit of a Capricorn thing, is wanting that little bit of a grind in life and having things to strive towards. Like, we just kind of need it. Gives us purpose. Or whatever type personality that might be. I don't know the personality types. I don't even put that much stock into like horoscopes, but I talk about Capricorn traits a lot because I definitely think there's something to that. Like, I don't believe in like predicting the future horoscopes. This is the Maybelline Falsy Surreal. But I think there is something to people's like star signs or whatever. Like their zodiac sign. I do think there's a little bit of a truth in there. Because I sure do have a lot of Capricorn traits. And my husband sure does have a lot of Taurus traits. And we make a great team. But yeah, is there a novel series that you guys are into though? Like I love a good series that I can just kind of fall into with books. So let me know like if there's any that you guys are enjoying. As long as it's not fantasy, I'm into it. Like, I like thrillers. I like stuff very much like The Girl with Dragon Tattoo. And I love sci-fi. Any kind of sci-fi I like. I like space opera, cheesy sci-fi. I like hard science sci-fi that's very serious and nerdy. I like it all. When it comes to that, I really, really like speculative future novels, like cyberpunk particularly. I love that genre. That's my favorite. So if you guys have any recommendations in there, or just authors I should check out. I'm currently reading a little space opera now that's pretty entertaining called Revelation Space. I'm kind of going back, like reading stuff from sci-fi novelists, writers that aren't new, like some older stuff, and just going through like whole catalogs from a particular author. Like I went through just about all of Neil Stephenson's, all of William Gibson. What else have I done? Yeah, I've read a lot of Philip K. Dick, a lot of H.P. Lovecraft. I've read just about everything from him. But yeah, I'm not a fantasy girl. I don't care about like Game of Thrones type of stuff. Zero interest. I did read those, but they're alright. They're just really long. I liked Harry Potter. I'll admit that. I did enjoy those books. Who didn't, though? And I liked the True Blood books. Those were cute. There's probably there's got to be some like Anne Rice novels that I've missed. She had a lot. I feel like going back and checking through that. And honestly, I would not mind just going back, starting at the beginning with the vampire novels and going through them. Because it's, I mean, my God, it's been probably 10 plus years since I've read those. Oh, longer than that. It's probably about 15 years since I read them. Also, if you have any tips and tricks for caring for calla lilies, let me know that as well. I think I'm probably gonna end up repotting them into a nicer flower pot because there's no plastic one right now that they came in. But other than that, they are. I'm really shocked at how well they're doing. Like there's no brown spots yet, nothing. But yeah, maybe that could be a little new side quest for me, being a plant mom. We'll see. Alright. I'm gonna sort my hair out real quick and we'll be back for the lips and the finished look. I'll see you in just a second. Okay, and we are back. Hair is sorted. A little floofy today. Look at this. Look at this. This part actually wanting to curl. And be a little ringlet here. Hello. Hi. Pretty nice. Proud of that. A little fuzzy in other parts of the hair, but yeah, not a bad hair day. Okay. Anyway, I did end up putting on some lashes because I felt like the look needed them. After sitting here for a minute, while I was sorting the hair, I was like, you know, I sure feel like we could use some eyelashes. And yeah, so it's Kiss Pompadour, and I have already lined my lips with MAC Spice. For lipstick, I'm gonna grab Maybelline More Honey. I feel like that would be a pretty color with this. I feel like we got a lot going on the eye. We don't need crazy dramatic lips. Light application of that, and then we're going to top it with Maybelline Lifter Gloss in Amber. They have some new ones coming out that are going to be plumping. I'm kind of intrigued to try. And I'm going with gloss because my lips are dry. Girl, they're so dry. This weather has definitely dried my lippies out. Alright, I think this is our look all complete. What do you think? I'm really loving the purple. I think it's so pretty. I love purple and orange on the eyes, clearly, because I'm doing it again. But with different products and slightly different this time. But it's a favorite combo. And yeah, I think it came out really pretty. So, yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed all my fussing about a book. I'm still I think it was just poorly written, okay? Poorly written, weird fan fiction is what it was. It was just, I don't know what happened with that book. But anyway, let me know your thoughts down below. Have you watched the new Interview with the Vampire series? What did you think of it? Are you an Anne Rice fan? Also, let me know that below. I definitely am. Have been. I think one of the first novels I ever sat down and read was Interview with the Vampire. I remember sneaking it in class, reading it during lecture, during class time. I had it hidden in my textbook, reading it. And yeah, I'm very much an avid reader. I read. Oh goodness, I think I read 100-something books last year. It was a crazy big amount. Anyway, let me know down below what you think of that, and do you have any book series you think I would be into? Drop that in the comments. And how do you care for calla lilies? Do you have any tips and tricks for being a plant mom? Because I guess that's my thing now. I guess that's another thing for me now anyway. So yeah, thank you for hanging out with me, having a cup of coffee together. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Stay safe and stay spooky. Bye now.